Hello, everybody. Hey, welcome to Trust Matters, Real Estate and Estate Planning Solutions, brought to you by Gateville Law Firm Sean Robertson. Gateville Law Firm is located in Yorkville. You can find them at gatevillelawfirm.com. That's gatevillelawfirm.com, or call 630-780-1034. 630-780-1034. At Gateville Law Firm, Trust Matters. Hey, Sean, how are we doing today?
Doing great.
Well, we have a good topic today. This is something that some people are going through or will go through in their lifetime, wills versus trust, and the difference between them. Because really, as the program says, trust matters. Trusts are a very important legal document, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Explain the difference between a will and a trust when it comes to something like somebody's home.
Right. So a major difference between a will and a trust is a lot of people think with the will, when somebody gives them money or property, that they don't have to do anything and they can just do a quitclaim deed. That couldn't be further from the truth. The trust, if you put a trust into the property, the real estate, into the trust name, it bypasses probate.
Okay.
As well as if somebody has an incapacity, it's good for that as well.
Yeah. A lot of people have heard the term probate, but maybe have never had to experience that. What is probate, and how can that muddle things up sometimes?
So what probate is, it is a court process where, let's say you have a will or you don't. You've got to go through a court process, and you've got to get a court to activate the will or to decide how they're going to handle the property, real estate. So it's a court process where you need an attorney, you've got to pay court fees, and you hear, unfortunately, you hear some horror stories with it.
You certainly do, yeah. There's a lot of people. The wills come in handy in some cases for things.
Right.
Personal possessions, maybe monetary funds that are in savings or, things like that. But the trust thing, you should really look into that and contact Sean about trust and how they work there. Because, again, if you're bypassing probate and the courts in your state there, then you're not going to spend a whole lot of money and a lot of stress trying to get things figured out there. So what's a revocable living trust? I've heard of this before, but I've forgotten how that works.
So a revocable living trust it's an instrument. It's kind of like a will. It's a legal document that explains how you want to distribute things upon your death. It's revocable because it means you can alter it, you can change it, you can modify it. So unlike a will, it's intended to be for incapacity issues. And nowadays, incapacity is probably just as big, if not a bigger concern as death.
Right, exactly. This is where we sometimes get into the POAs, the power of attorney.
Correct.
Yeah. So, and that's an important thing. A lot of these things here are just trying to put things in place before somebody passes that has properties, possessions, things that are, say like monies and funds, stuff like this. Yeah.
Yeah, like I know you mentioned before that wills go with savings, but unfortunately, even with those, a lot of times if you have a person that deceased, you had a paid on death instrument or account, something happens to that person, they become incapacitated, or they have nursing home issues, it becomes an issue. So the trust kind of protects against those incapacity issues and transfers property easy, and you really don't need an attorney upon a death, or if you do, it's really simple. Okay.
Because we've heard and read all the horror stories of all the court battles going on with family members. Well, that's not a legal document, Well, it was signed, but what is this? Is it a will? Is it a revocable trust? These sort of things. And so, these are the things that you want to get figured out before the time comes around when this becomes potentially a big firecracker just waiting to explode in your hands there. So what other things do you want to talk about in today's program? Anything else that we haven't touched about?
Yeah, like one thing I do want to mention, one of the other benefits of a trust, like I was talking to a gentleman yesterday, and he was telling me that him and his sister had a will. He was the executor, and his sister basically gave him a really hard time, and it cost him thousands of dollars. Where with the trust, a lot of times you don't have conflict because it's a private document. Where with the will, it's public information, and you've got to activate it through a court process, which means you've got to send everything to the heirs and people that may have an interest. And a lot of times people aren't happy with the result. So that's when they challenge it, and unfortunately, a lot of times they're challenging it on somebody else's dime.
How soon should somebody start thinking about these the revocable living trust, the POAs and stuff? Because a lot of us in our 20s and 30s, we've purchased a home. Okay, now we're focused on that. We're not thinking about, hey, what if something happens to me or us, right?
Correct. I mean, really, somebody should do it as soon as possible. But in my experience, when most people start getting 35 to 40, 45, 50, that's when it starts becoming a more serious issue. Plus, a lot of people do it because they see something happening with their parents.
There you go.
Like, I'm 50 now, so what happens with your parent or in-laws really has a big impact. And a lot of times it opens your mind to what you have to do, because a lot of people don't understand these issues until it impacts them personally.
Right. And the bigger question is, once I've made this, can I go back and edit it or make changes that are necessary as things change in life?
Oh, absolutely. Like, I have people that they've had one of their kids get a divorce or going through a divorce, and they want to change it. So, absolutely.
Okay. So, well, if people want to get more information, what's the best way to contact you then?
Yeah, contact us at 630-780-1034.
Okay, real good. Hey, Sean, thanks a lot. Good talking to you.
Thanks, Chris.
And we'll see you back next time, okay?
All right, great. Sounds good. Thanks.
All right, you're welcome. Hey, you've been listening to today's show, Trust Matters, brought to you by our good friend there, Sean Robertson of Real Estate and Estate Planning Solutions at Gateville Law Firm. Gateville Law Firm is located in Yorkville. You can find them at gatevillelawfirm.com online or call them at 630-780-1034 at Gateville Law Firm. Trust Matters.